Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Today, inshallah, we're going to solve Cambridge exam, October-November 2023, paper 21. Let's start it. Question 1. A gas is placed in a sealed container. The gas has a pressure of 1 atmosphere and a temperature of 50 degrees Celsius. This gas is heated up to 100. Which row describes the cause of the pressure of the gas and the effect of increasing temperature of the gas? Of course, the cause of the pressure is the number of gas particles that hit or collide with the wall of the container. So it is not the collision between the particles, it is the collision between the particle and the wall of the container. So we will choose collision between the gas particle and the container. And the effect of increasing temperature of the gas, by increasing temperature, the kinetic energy will increase and the gas particle will move faster. So here the average speed of the particle will increase, and so the answer will be D. Question 2. We have 4 experiments, each containing a different acidic gas. 2 measuring cylinders and the gas in the lower cylinder. The dividing glass plates are removed at the same times from all the 4 experiments. We have this dividing glass plate removed at the same time in the 4 experiments. The question is, in which set of apparatus does the litmus paper turns red first? That means the gas in the lower cylinder that will diffuse upward to reach the litmus paper and turn the color red. So the gas will make the litmus paper red first is the gas that has the fastest rate of diffusion. And as we know, the rate of diffusion is inversely proportional to the molecular mass. So the gas that has the lowest molecular mass will have the fastest rate of diffusion. Here we have the molecular mass for hydrogen chloride is 36.5, and for sulfur dioxide 64, for nitrogen dioxide 46, and for carbon dioxide 44. So the gas that has the lowest molecular mass is hydrogen chloride, and the answer will be B. Question 3. Group 1 element potassium forms an ionic bond with group 7 elements fluorine, to which 2 ions are produced. As we know, group 1 elements lose 1 electron to form a positive ion with only charge of 1 plus, and group 7 elements gain 1 electron to complete the outer shell to 8 because they have 7 electrons in the outer shell, so they will gain 1 electron and they will have negative charge. That's to mean the answer is B. Question 4. X and Y are atoms. X and Y have the same number of electron shells. The number of electron shells equal to the number of the period. That means they are in the same period. X and Y have the same number of outer electrons. That means they are in the same group. And of course, if element in the same period and the same group, so they are the same element. X and Y have different mass number. That means they have different neutrons inside their atoms. X and Y are isotopes of the same element. So which statement are correct? X and Y are isotopes, this is correct. Have the same total number of electrons, this is also correct. And X and Y have the same chemical properties because they have the same number of outer shell electrons and they are isotopes, so of course they have the same chemical properties, and all these statements will be correct. The answer is A. Question 5. Lithium chloride is an ionic compound and silicon 4 oxide is a covalent compound. Which statement about both compound is correct? So the statement has to be correct for lithium chloride and silicon 4 oxide. They are not soluble in water. Silicon 4 oxide is not soluble, but lithium chloride is soluble, so the statement is wrong. They conduct electricity when they are melted. Only lithium chloride can conduct electricity when they are melted, so the statement is wrong. They have low melting points, of course, both have high melting point, so the statement is wrong. The only correct statement, they don't conduct electricity in solid form, and this is correct because lithium chloride is ionic compound and cannot conduct electricity in solid, and of course silicon oxide cannot conduct electricity. Which equation are balanced? Here I check the balance for the 4 equation. Only statement equation 1 and equation 4 are correct. The balance in equation 2 is wrong because here we have only 2 hydrogen and here 4 hydrogen. Equation 3 is also wrong. Here we have 1 sodium and here we have 2 sodium. So only 1 and 4 are correct. The answer is B. Question 7. Which row shows the formula of sodium carbonate, zinc nitrate, and ammonium sulfate? Of course, we know the formula: sodium carbonate, zinc nitrate, and ammonium sulfate. The answer is B. Question 8. Which statement about hydrogen and oxygen are correct? Hydrogen and oxygen can react to produce electrical energy. This will happen in the hydrogen fuel cell. Oxygen reacts with the hydrogen and electrical energy is produced. So this statement is correct. Hydrogen and oxygen can be made by the electrolysis of dilute aqueous sodium chloride, and this is also correct statement because when we make electrolysis for dilute sodium chloride, hydrogen gas will be produced at the cathode and oxygen will be produced at the anode, because diluted sodium chloride, the chloride ions is not in enough concentration to be discharged as chlorine gas, so oxygen gas will be produced at the anode from the electrolysis of dilute sodium chloride. The answer is D. Question 9. Graphite has a giant covalent structure. Which statement about graphite are correct? Carbon atoms form 4 covalent bonds with neighboring atoms. This is wrong. In graphite, each carbon forms only 3 bonds with neighboring carbon atoms. They are delocalized electrons between the layers of carbon atoms. This is correct. Graphite has delocalized electrons, and that's why graphite can conduct electricity. Graphite is a useful lubricant. This is also correct. Graphite is a good conductor of electricity, and this is due to the delocalized electrons present between the layers. So we have 3 correct statements, 2, 3, and 4, and the answer is C. Question 10. In which reaction pathway diagram represent an endothermic reaction? For endothermic reaction, the reactant will be at lower energy level than the product, and delta H will be positive. So this one is wrong because the delta H is negative, and these 2 will be wrong because the reactant at higher energy level than the product. We will choose B because the reactant at lower energy level and the delta H is positive. Question 11. Hydrogen burns in oxygen. The equation of the reaction is shown. Here the table gives the bond energy involved in the reaction. We will calculate the energy change of the reaction, which will be the energy absorbed to break the bonds of the reactant minus the energy released to form new bonds in the products. So here the energy absorbed is the energy needed to break 2 molecules of hydrogen. So we will multiply 436 by 2, then 1 molecule of oxygen. Here the bond is 498. The total energy absorbed will be 1370, and then the energy released to form new bonds in the product. Here I have 2 molecules of water, so we will have 4 OH bond. I will multiply this by 4. 464 by 4 will be 1856. The delta H will be 370 minus 1856 will be minus 486 kilojoule per mole, and the answer is C. Question 12. Which process involves a chemical change? Adding sodium to water is of course a chemical reaction which produces a lot of energy. It's a highly exothermic reaction. Boiling water is a physical process. Dissolving also is a physical process. Producing water from aqueous sodium chloride, this is also a physical process. So the only correct statement is A. Question 13. An experiment is carried out to find the rate of reaction between a hydrochloric acid and zinc. The result of the experiment, as we can see from the graph, on the x-axis we have the time, and the value is needed on the y-axis. Which is the label to the y-axis? As we can see, the value on the y-axis get decreased by time. So the amount of zinc chloride produced, of course, the amount of the product increased by time. So this is wrong. The mass of zinc reacted, of course, the mass of the reacted zinc increased by time. So this is also wrong. The volume of hydrogen gas produced, hydrogen gas is the product. So of course, the volume of hydrogen gas increased by time. So this is also wrong. The concentration of HCl, as HCl is reacted with zinc, the concentration decreased. So the only value that will be decreased by time is the concentration of HCl, and the answer will be B. Question 14. Hydrogen peroxide decomposes to form water and oxygen. Manganese 4 oxide catalyzes this decomposition. This reaction is investigated in 4 experiments. Here in the first column we have the volume and the concentration of hydrogen peroxide used. In the second column we have the condition, whether we would use manganese oxide as a catalyst in a powdered form, or some experiment like experiment 3 without the catalyst. All the reaction will go to completion, and all measurements of the gas volume are at room temperature and pressure. Which statement is correct? Experiment 1 produces less gas than experiment 4, but at the same rate. Experiment 1 at 25 degrees Celsius and experiment 4 at 40 degrees. So of course, by increasing the temperature, this will increase the rate of reaction. So experiment 1 and 4 are not at the same rate. B. Experiment 2 produces more gas than experiment 1, but they are at the same rate. Of course, again, they are not at the same temperature, so they will never be at the same rate. Statement C. Experiment 2 and experiment 4 each produces the same volume of the gas, but at different rate. Experiment 2 and 4 done at the same temperature, which is 40 degrees Celsius, and we are using catalyst manganese 4 oxide in a powdered form. They have two different concentrations. Experiment 2, 2 mole per decimeter cube, and in experiment 4, 1 mole per decimeter cube. Of course, increasing the concentration will have a higher rate of reaction, so experiment 2 and 4 are not in the same rate. They have different rates. This statement is correct. At the same volume of the gas, because the total amount of hydrogen peroxide is the same in both solutions, just as the solution is more concentrated. If we add 12.5 centimeter cube water to the solution in experiment 2, the total volume will be 25 centimeter cube and the concentration will be 1 mole per decimeter. So the solution can be diluted with water to have the same total amount like experiment 4. So finally they will produce the same volume of oxygen gas, but because solution 2 is more concentrated, so it will have a higher rate. Statement C is correct. The final statement, experiment 3 and experiment 4 produce the same volume and at the same rate. Of course, experiment 3 done without the catalyst, so it will be in a slower rate than experiment 4. Statement D is wrong. The only correct statement will be statement C, so the answer is C. Question 15. Sulfuric acid is produced by contact process. Which row shows a typical condition used in this process? Of course, the catalyst is vanadium pentaoxide, and the pressure is 200 kilopascal. That means 2 atmospheric pressure, and the temperature is 450 degrees Celsius. So the answer is C. Question 16. Which equation shows the reduction of copper? Of course, reduction is losing oxygen. So here, copper oxide is converted into copper by losing oxygen. Statement A is correct. Which statement about acid is correct? A weak acid partially dissociates in aqueous solution. This is correct. Acid accepts protons. This is of course wrong. Acid is a proton donor. Ethanoic acid is a strong acid. Ethanoic acid, like all organic acids, are weak acids. Hydrochloric acid is a strong acid that ionizes in water to form H- ions. This is of course wrong. It ionizes to produce H+ ions or protons. So this is also wrong. The answer will be A. Question 18. Copper 2 sulfate is formed by reacting excess solid copper 2 carbonate with dilute sulfuric acid. Which processes are part of the preparation of the solid copper 2 sulfate? We will have crystallization of the solution formed and filtration to remove the excess copper carbonate. So these are the two processes used. First, we will filter to remove the excess copper 2 carbonate. Then the solution, which is the filtrate, contain a solution of copper 2 sulfate. We will heat it till the crystallization point to prepare solid copper 2 sulfate crystals. Question 19. Which type of reaction is represented by the equation shown? Here we have lead ions and iodide ions react together to form a precipitated lead iodide. So the presence of precipitate means this is a precipitation reaction to prepare the insoluble solid salt lead iodide. Question 20. Which compound is likely to be colored? We know that transition metals form colored compound, and here the only transition metal present is manganese, so the answer will be potassium manganate. A. Which statements about the metal zinc are correct? It is extracted from the ore bauxite. This is wrong. Bauxite is the ore of aluminium. It is used to galvanize steel. This is correct. Zinc is used to galvanize steel to prevent rusting. It is used to make the alloy brass. Brass is an alloy of copper and zinc, so this is also correct. It reacts with dilute hydrochloric acid to produce hydrogen gas. This is, of course, correct. So we have 2, 3, and 4 correct statements. That means the answer is C. Question 22. The electronic configuration of 4 elements B, Q, and S are shown. Which element are unreactive and monoatomic? Monoatomic means it is one of the noble gases. They are monoatomic and they are unreactive because they have a full outer shell of 8 electrons. So we have B, which has only 2 electrons. So the first shell can be filled with 2 electrons only. So this is a noble gas. And S, which is 2, 8. That means the second shell is also completed. So B and S are noble gases. The answer is B. Question 23. Which row compares the strength of alloy with the pure metal and explain the difference in the strength? Of course, alloy is harder and stronger than the pure metal, and that's because larger atoms make it harder for the layers to slide over each other, and the answer is D. Question 24. Zinc oxide reacts with carbon to produce zinc. Which equation represents this reaction? Zinc oxide has the formula of ZnO, react with carbon, which is C, to form zinc and carbon monoxide. As zinc is less reactive than carbon or below carbon in the reactivity series, so oxide of zinc oxide, can be reduced by carbon to form zinc metal, and the answer is C. Question 25. Which piece of aluminium foil is added? When a piece of aluminium foil is added to dilute hydrochloric acid, no effervescence is seen. Which statement explain why there is no effervescence when a piece of aluminium is added? Because aluminium has a surface layer, a protective layer of aluminium oxide on the surface that prevent the reaction. So the answer is B. Question 26. Iron nails are stored in airtight container. Here the container is closed with a lid, but it contains air inside. The nail began to rust after a few days because the air contains, of course, oxygen and water vapor. Even the container is closed, but still we have air inside. How can the rust of the nail be prevented? Of course, if we can replace the air by an inert gas like argon, this will prevent rusting because there will be no oxygen and water vapor. So the answer will be B. Of course, leaving the lid off is wrong. Put the container in a warmer place. This will increase rusting. Seal the container in a bag. This, of course, will do nothing to the air inside the container. Question 27. 4 substances present in the blast furnace during the iron extraction are listed: calcium carbonate, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and iron 3 oxide. Which substance are both reactant and product during the reactions occurring in the blast furnace? Here, the answer should be from all the reactions in the blast furnace. Which substance can be a reactant or a product? Here, we will choose carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide, and that's why, because carbon dioxide is a product in the first equation here when carbon burns in the presence of oxygen to form carbon dioxide. Then again, carbon dioxide is a reactant when it reacts with carbon to produce carbon monoxide. So carbon dioxide can be a reactant and a product. Reactant here in this equation and product in the first equation. Then carbon monoxide is a product here when carbon reduces carbon dioxide to form carbon monoxide. So it's a product here, and it is a reactant because it's a reducing agent to reduce iron 3 oxide into iron. So carbon monoxide again is a reactant and product. The two substances that can be a reactant or product are carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. The answer will be C. Question 28. Aluminium is extracted from purified bauxite by electrolysis. Which row shows the ionic half equation for the reaction at each electrode? In electrolysis of aluminium oxide, we have aluminium ions, which is Al plus 3, and oxide ion, which is O2 minus. So aluminium ion, of course, will be attracted to the cathode to gain 3 electrons to form aluminium metal, and the oxide ion will be attracted to the anode, losing 4 electrons to form oxygen gas, and the answer is D. Question 29. Which test is used to show that the sample of water is pure? Of course, to know that the substance is pure, we have to heat it till it boils, and we check the boiling point. So the answer is B. Heat the water to check its boiling point. Question 30. Catalytic converter in car exhaust change pollutant gases into non-polluting gases. Which statement about the oxides of nitrogen and the car engines are correct? Nitrogen in oxides of nitrogen comes from compounds in the gasoline. This is wrong because nitrogen comes from air. The oxygen in the oxide of nitrogen comes from air in the car engine. This is correct. Oxygen also comes from the air. Catalytic converter convert oxides of nitrogen to nitrogen gas, and this is correct because it converts the pollutant gases into non-polluting gases. So it will convert carbon monoxide into carbon dioxide and nitrogen oxides into nitrogen gas. So we have two correct statements, 2 and 3. The answer will be B. Question 31. The structure of two molecules X and Y are shown. As we can see the structure of X and Y, which row describes X and Y? X and Y are structure isomers. This is the first column, and in the second column, they are belong to the same homologous series. To check if they are structure isomers or not, we have to know the molecular formula or count how many carbons in each structure. Here we have 6 carbons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and here we have 7 carbons. So of course they are not structure isomers because they don't have the same molecular formula. They belong to the same homologous series. Both have carbon-carbon double bonds, so they are both belong to the alkene series. So this is correct. The answer is B. Question 32. What is the structure of butanoic acid? Butanoic acid means it has the function group COH and it has 4 carbons. So we will count here 1, 2, 3, 4, including of course the carboxylic group. So the answer is D. Question 33. When a mixture of methane and chlorine is exposed to ultraviolet light, a reaction takes place. Which statement about this reaction are correct. It is an addition reaction. This is of course wrong because methane is an alkane. Alkane cannot make addition reactions because they don't have double bond. The ultraviolet light provide the activation energy. This is correct. Ultraviolet light is the catalyst needed for this reaction. An equation for the reaction is methane plus chlorine produces CH2Cl2 plus hydrogen gas. This is wrong because it will produce CH3Cl plus hydrogen chloride gas. So statement 3 is wrong. 4. Chloromethane is made in this reaction. As we said here, this is the product of the reaction. So statement 2 and 4 are correct and the answer is D. Question 34. Esters are formed when carboxylic acid reacts with an alcohol. What is the catalyst for this reaction? The sulfuric acid is used to catalyze the reaction between carboxylic acids and alcohol. So the answer is C. Question 35. The diagram shows a part of a polymer. Which diagram shows the monomer from which this polymer is made? As we can see here, the structure is repeated as ethene molecule, 2 carbons with 4 hydrogen, and this is the structure of ethene. Just we will put the double bond and remove the continuation. We will find the repeated part or the monomer is ethene, so the answer is C. Question 36. Nylon and PET are polymers. Which statement about these polymers are correct? They are both condensation polymers. This is correct. Nylon is a polyamide and the PET is polyester. Both are condensation polymers. This structure could be a monomer for both polymers. This is wrong because nylon is a polyamide. It's not a polyester. So it needs to react a monomer which contain amine group which is NH2 and not OH group. Statement 3. The complete combustion of both polymers gives 2 product only, and this is also wrong because nylon contain nitrogen, so it will not give 2 product only. The only correct statement is 1, so the answer is C. Question 37. Ethane is used as a fuel. Which equation shows the complete combustion of ethane? Ethane is C2H6, react with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and water, and here we have to balance the equation. We have to check the balance of all the statement. The only correct equation is A, so the answer is A. Question 38. The painkiller paracetamol is sensitized from 4-aminophenol. Chromatography is done on an impure sample of paracetamol. The results are shown. The diagram is not well detailed. Here we have the solvent front, the baseline, where S is the impure sample of paracetamol and P is the pure paracetamol. So the sample of the paracetamol contaminated with 4-aminophenol only. What is the RF value of the 4-aminophenol? P is the pure paracetamol, so this is the spot of the pure paracetamol, and S is contaminated, so it has pure paracetamol and another contaminant. So this is the spot that have the same distance like the pure, so this is the paracetamol present in S, and this is the spot of the contaminant which is 4-aminophenol. So we will measure the RF value of the spot that contain 4-aminophenol, which is this spot. The distance moved by the spot from the baseline till the spot, which is 2.6 centimeter, and the distance moved by the solvent, which is from the baseline till the solvent front, it will be 3.5 centimeter. So the RF for the aminophenol is 2.6 divided 3.5, it will be 0.74, and the answer is C. Question 39. The equation for the reaction of aqueous calcium nitrate and aqueous sodium hydroxide is shown. Which process is used to remove calcium hydroxide from the mixture? As we can see, calcium hydroxide is solid, so it's a precipitate, insoluble, so it can be removed by filtration, and the answer is D. Question 40. The results of 2 tests on the aqueous compound X are given. The first test warm aluminium foil and aqueous sodium hydroxide ammonia gas is produced. This test is a test for nitrate ions. So when ammonia gas produced, it's a positive result and nitrate ions present. The second one, adding aqueous sodium hydroxide, a brown precipitate is formed. A brown precipitate indicates the presence of iron 3 ions. The brown precipitate is iron 3 hydroxide, so it's a positive result, means iron 3 ions are present. So what is X? X contain iron 3 ions and nitrate ions, so X is iron 3 nitrate. The answer is A. And here we come to the end of our exam. Like the video and subscribe to the channel to receive all the updates. Comment down below if you have any questions. Thank you for watching. Wish you all best of luck.